about to be.
We're about to be live.
Now we're live.
Okay.
We are live.
I'm gonna set my phone to silent mode. Oh, it already was on silent mode. Now it's not. Now it's on.
That's good.
It's on silent mode. Today, Zachary, we talked a little bit about this one day.
We did.
And I thought it would be useful to all the salespeople, all the influencer types.
I think everybody. I think this is super useful to everybody.
Oh, it really is.
And so, are we talking about why turkeys and humans are basically the same when it comes to our brain processing power?
I don't know about brain processing power.
Oh, okay, not power, but
you know what most people think
some built-in things.
Here's the deal: most people think that their brains that they make logical decisions, and only sometimes are kind of go haywire and emotional. No worries. But you know, sometimes most of the time, people think that they are making logical decisions, and they sometimes just kind of mess up and get illogical. And, you know, usually when you talk about persuasion, you can talk about it and people don't actually think that it's happening to them. They just believe that they're the kind of logical ones and everyone else out there are kind of illogical sometimes. And that's just not the reality. Like, everyone is illogical all the time, and it is the normal way people operate and think. And you got your chair all right?
I'm good. I'm like snagged. I'm hitting legs of the thing, and it's all good. We're all right now.
So the reality is, and this is probably the most powerful idea from like a business perspective that I ever found out. Is that humans do not make rational decisions. They make irrational decisions. And for example, as a salesperson,
and then backfill with logic,
and then they backfill it with logic, but it happens so quickly that. So what happens is you make an emotional decision, and then logic kicks in to explain why you made that decision. Okay, so for example, I use it in health coaching all the time. Like people losing weight, people will say, "Oh, I ate that thing. You know, I whipped through fast food. I don't normally do that, but I went through fast food because we were in a rush." Right, and that word "because" is going to come back up here in a few minutes. Ooh. But that dangerous because word. I was in a rush. Okay, well, you know, of course you were in a rush, but that didn't mean you had to eat at fast food. It doesn't even mean you had to eat. You could have skipped a meal. Intermittent fasting is, if you wanted to lose weight, intermittent fasting is like super powerful. It's a super powerful way to lose weight, which is literally skipping meals.
Definitely not my favorite.
But the thing is, it's so, like, if you didn't have any options, like I know y'all, like if you didn't have any options, you just wait till you got home. Like,
oh yeah,
or you would whip to a grocery store.
We would go to a grocery store, actually the reality is it's unlikely that we're going to get in that position, because if we know we're going somewhere and there's a possibility that we get snagged in overtime, we're going to probably bring some snacks that are acceptable for us.
Exactly.
So that they're there, and if we need a little snack, we'll have something. Like that, like that's the real, like we pre-thought of the fact that we might not make it out of wherever as fast as we'd like. And the fact that wherever we're going probably won't have things that are acceptable for us to eat.
So I actually call that preloading decisions. So
it's a big deal.
When you preload a decision, you know, if you want to hack a brain hack, we'll get to turkeys later, but if you want a brain hack for losing weight and you're going to an event, people always come to me, you know, I've coached like tens of thousands of people with weight loss, and they'll always be like, never fail, they'll come up to me and they'll be like, on a Zoom call or something, and they'll be like, "Hey, Roland, like I've got this like big event coming up. It's like this corporate event. Like I got to be there, and there's gonna be all this food there. I'm really nervous about what I'm gonna do." I'm like, "Well, don't wait to make the decision when you're there."
Right.
I said you have to preload that decision ahead of time.
Sure do.
Before you even get there.
Yep.
Okay, and on top of that, get stuffed before you go. Like eat a whole bunch of food, and then tell yourself what you're gonna eat and what you're not gonna eat when you get there.
Yeah.
Like what you are going to allow and what you're not going to allow. Don't wait until you get the extra pressures of the social community around you. Don't do it in all the, what are you laughing about?
I got a great story about the social pressures and all that. So we went to a Bible study when we were in Florida, and it was a great Bible study, right? And they were doing a Christmas party. They're like, "Oh, we could do a Christmas party." We're like, "Cool, yeah, we'll come over." And you know, like we eat weird. It's okay. Like
weird old people.
Right. We eat weird. It's okay. We say fanatical. We're fanatical about the way we eat and what we eat. Yeah. Right. And so like we brought things that we would eat, and we brought plenty so everybody could share and all those things. And when we got there, the host was like, "Oh, you have to try some of this." And I'm like, "No, thank you. It's okay." It probably, like, I knew it had gluten in it, right? And so, like, Laura and Jagan don't eat gluten at all because it does not treat them well, and I don't, just because it's like after
that's your new habit. Yeah.
Well, after so long of doing it, because you just don't keep it in the house, like you just don't. Not to mention, I knew that there was like 300 other things in said dish that I did not want to consume either. But the gluten thing was the easiest. And they're like, "Oh no, it's gluten free." I go, "No, it's not." I know that it's not because it has noodles in it. You didn't get gluten free noodles. Well, the lady was mad. Like, she was like mad, and I thought we were gonna, like, I was like this close to like leaving. She's like, "Well, you have to," and I'm like, "Oh no." Like, there's a whole bunch of things that I have to do, and that is not on the list. Like, I'm here, we can fellowship, and I can not eat that food, and we can still have a great time. Like, it's not going to be a problem. And man, she like tried dropping Bible verses on me and everything, like blah blah blah. And I'm like, like, you got the wrong person. Like, there's a whole bunch of people that might have worked on. Not me, because I'll leave. Like, I'll pack our stuff and go home. I don't need drama, over food. Like, I'm not offending you. I'm not trying to be offensive. We don't do that, and it's okay.
Here's what's so fascinating about that. I've analyzed that a lot, and it's so fascinating because the most basic and kind of primordial way that people groups came together is by sharing food.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Like, that is how they did it.
Right.
And so, in a sense, even when they're in peace talks, when two warrior tribes, what they would do is they would bring theirs, and they would bring theirs, and part of that and that communal sharing of food was actually letting the other tribe know, "Look, I'm not poisoning you, and I'm not afraid that you're poisoning me.
Right.
So we're going to eat this thing together."
Right.
Now, and so what's fascinating about that is, so her reaction is like a deep-seated, you were rejecting her.
Oh, yeah.
You weren't rejecting her noodles.
Oh, I get it.
You were rejecting her. And so she felt, she felt as though you did not trust her as a sister in Christ, right? And I think that's really for those of us that are health conscious in general.
Yeah.
It's because, as you know, like the 11,000 different chemical processes that the food industry puts things through.
Oh my gosh.
And the flavor enhancers and the addictive qualities and the red dyes and the artificial coloring.
The list is,
and I mean, it's just the phosphoric acid, the polysorbate 80, that's like causes neurological disturbances.
Like my favorite thing, like the easiest thing, like my 12-year-old does it. He's been doing it for years now, right? Ever since he started learning to read, he started reading packages, right?
Food label reading.
Yeah,
Smart.
And it's super easy. Here's the simplest rule. If it looks like a small Bible verse, don't eat it. It's not God's word, right? Like, I'm telling you, it's not what you're looking for.
That was a good line.
Right? But, like, it's really simple.
If
it's a nice one-sentence, punchy line, you're probably okay, and you could read all the words. But when it gets to, like, this, they go down to, like, 6 font, like 0.6 font or whatever it is.
If you need a chemical engineering degree in order to read the disodium phosphate, disodium inosinate, right? Monosodium glutamate, all in flavor enhancers.
I'm glad you know all those. I just don't know that word, don't eat it.
Well, I mean, the only reason I do is because I have to say them, because if I'm coaching someone, right, and I'm talking, I'm like, listen, because what happens, and this is going to get into the turkey thing, once someone connects to an identity, it doesn't matter what that identity is. They end up connecting to it to a degree, and it almost becomes like a god.
Sure.
Okay, this is the reason why it's so important for Christians to not take on an extra identity and add an adjective before Christianity. So, for example, like if someone says, you know, they're a gay Christian, for example, like there's no such thing. That doesn't exist. Okay, now someone might struggle with same-sex attraction and believe in Christ.
It exists to them.
Right? The point is, though, is like someone can truly have a relationship with Christ, and they may struggle with same-sex attraction. But if they're qualifying their Christianity based on that identity first, then what they're doing is they're actually enslaved to that identity to begin with. Now, we could use that in every situation. We don't have to pick homosexuality as the conversation.
I actually saw a pastor do a really good bit on that. Really? And basically, there was a guy, like he was at a college, I don't know the guy's name, but he's at a college campus, and a gay guy or homosexual asked him basically that, and he goes, well, it's still sin. He goes, just because I'm a straight guy doesn't mean that I don't think about sex with other women that aren't my wife. He goes, it's the same. Like the same thing. Root problem is still the same.
That's right.
Because it's still a struggle. It's still something that heterosexual males struggle with.
Of course.
And so there's no difference other than the additional preference, and that's it. It's still It's still the same root sin. That's right. Which is sexual immorality.
Sexual immorality. That's
so,
exactly right.
Anyway, it was just a really good that's a good way to think about it.
It is, because that's that decouples it from it being identity.
Yeah, exactly.
Based, right? Because it's like this thing that you're struggling with. It's not who you are.
Right. And it's not unique to you. It's not unique to you.
It's not unique to you.
It's unique to, well, it's not even unique to men, but it's more prevalent in men.
For sure.
And that's about it.
You know, it's so fascinating, because that identity thing that I was talking about is, you know, if someone like struggles and they see themselves as the overweight person, or I've always been fat, or I've always been overweight, I have a slow metabolism, it runs in my family, and I will always be heavy. Like, of course they're always going to be heavy. Because what happens is then...
Pre-framed yourself.
You've pre-framed yourself, exactly. Right. We'll have to do an episode just on pre-frames, which would be great.
Yeah, we got to unpack that, because I realized that we're saying pre-frame, and it's an insider term.
It is an insider term.
It's an insider term. And so, like, for the uninitiated,
what does that even mean?
What does that mean? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, and you know...
Do you want to unpack it real quick?
Well, yeah, we can touch on it. Do you want to do it, or do you want me to?
I can unpack it real quick. So a pre-frame is basically you're taking an image or an idea and you're actually inserting it ahead of your lead thing, right? So I'll give you an example. Our pastor did it this weekend. Greatest pre-frame I've seen in a while. It was so good. So basically, they're talking about church vision, right? And they have 4 campuses, and so they're going into a series to talk about church vision and like where they're headed, right? And according to him, they haven't done it in 4 years. We're new to the church, so I'm assuming that's correct. Well, his pre-frame was he started talking about the 1992 Dream Team, right? And he basically was like, look, you have all these basketball stars.
You're talking about Michael Jordan,
Larry Bird, like all the people that played on the Olympic team, because NBA people were allowed to play in Olympics finally, right? And so he pre-frames with this and how they had to learn to play together because they're all stars and they compete against each other. And so he gave this example of this Dream Team, and then he started talking about the church that has multiple campuses, multiple pastors, and basically what he did is he helped you identify with a very recognizable team that was very successful and everybody knows, and you want to be like them.
You want to be like them.
Right, you want to be like them. And he also pointed out the struggle of the fact that you have these individuals who are very talented by themselves, right? They had to learn to work together for a greater good, right? And so that was the pre-frame for the church. And I was just like, I'm like jumping out of my seat because I'm like, that was the best pre-frame ever. I'm like, Jacob's sitting next to me and then Laura's won over. And I'm like, did you hear that pre-frame? And she's like, what are you talking? She's like, just tell me afterwards. And then she didn't realize it. You know why? Because she loves basketball. And so I was like, oh, you didn't even hear the pre-frame.
She got pulled in.
You got
because she
pulled
loves the
into,
thing, yeah.
and you were thinking about 1992 when you were watching the Olympics and watching all these stars and all these things. You have all this emotional attachment to that thing, like other people do.
Yeah.
But it puts you in this pre-framed state of mind
That's right.
of this awesome, glorious thing. And that's what you want to do.
And so from a technical standpoint, a pre-frame, what it does is just to flesh this out a little bit more.
Yeah.
What a pre-frame does is it alters how you receive, how your brain receives the next set of data.
Exactly.
Right? So it alters what comes next.
Yep.
Okay? And actually, in a sense, we can dive into turkey brain this way. Go ahead.
I got a kind of like that I just thought of.
Okay.
So it's kind of like.
Okay, hold on. Stop.
Sure.
So can you hold it? Can you
Yeah,
hold
oh
that?
yeah, I got it.
So a kind of like bridge is an idea that Russell Brunson popularized for anybody in the audience watching. Kind of like bridge in persuasion and communication terms is when you're trying to describe an idea that is foreign to the audience at the time. And so you say it's called a kind of like bridge, something, and you create an analogy that will parallel the idea, and it helps you make neural connections with things you know to the new thing.
Yep.
Right? Which also can pre-frame you.
Exactly.
Or reframe you.
Exactly.
Right?
So
Okay,
so pre-frame.
Pre-frame.
Okay, so think about this.
This is fun.
I know.
If we can talk about this
Oh
all
yeah,
the
this
time.
is so good. Yeah. Okay, so think about this. You have a piece of wood, right? Or actually, you like antiques. You have antique and you want to restore it, but it already has stain on it. Think about the pre-frame like this. Before I can put new stain on, I have to remove the old stain.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So pre-frame is sanding and prepping
That's right.
the wood so that it can better
So it can
receive that
Yes.
that stain. Right? So if you don't stain it ahead of time, all you're doing is laying an idea over an old idea. And guess what? It's just going to flake off and go away. So you have to prep it ahead of time. So you have to sand and buff it out, get rid of all the old stain. Now the wood's ready for the new stain.
That's right.
That's what a pre-frame
that's
is.
A good,
That's a pretty good kind of like. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I got to go
That is
here.
a good kind of like. In really, and just preparing, like I remember looking at staining wood in general.
Yep.
It's even better to put in to sand the wood first before you apply the stain.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, just plain like
Just
normal
plain,
wood because you
normal
need
wood.
to open up the pores.
That's right. You sand it first, and then you even put a stain receiver on first,
Yep.
and then you put on the stain.
Right.
And so, because it helps it balance it, and oh man, it's so good. Such a good.
See,
I love
knew,
that.
I knew
That's a
you knew
great
more
kind of
about
like-
staining than I did. I just knew that like
No,
you
but
can't,
it's such
can't
a-
do this without this.
Such a great kind of like bridge. So learned about kind of like bridges. Okay, so let's go into turkey brain for a second. Okay,
I'm so excited.
This is so fun. Okay, so. And this literally, if someone like plugs into this and really thinks about it, you'll find areas in your life. By the way, I'm pre-framing you right now. You'll find areas in your life where you will look back and you'll say, "Oh yeah, that happened there, and it happened there." And you'll find it in arguments. I found it with my wife before. Being in disagreement with my wife, we'll be talking back and forth, and then I blurt out something. You know how you do in a statement, right? When you're going back and forth, I'll say something, she'll say something, go back and forth, and say, "Well, I only said that because," and like I hallucinate a reason that I said it that wasn't actually in my mind when I said it, right? And so like
those are the worst. Those are the worst ideas,
right?
Because it's like, here you go. Would you like to just stab me now? Because it's like such a bad idea for an argument, especially with your wife.
Yeah, well, and sometimes it happens so quickly you don't even know it happens.
I know.
And then I would think to myself after that, I'm like, because I won the argument, which don't even exist.
Winning is
right?
such a bad idea when it comes
to
arguing with the wife.
Right. So I won, and then I thought back to myself, it's like, that wasn't even true. Like, I didn't know it wasn't in the moment, but it wasn't even true.
Won the battle, lost the war.
Well, yeah, no doubt. And I have to go back like hand in hand.
I'm sorry. I'm
sorry,
I'm an
Jesse.
idiot. I did this. I did that. I'm so stupid. I'm insensitive, and I did these things.
That's so funny. Okay, so there's a fascinating thing about mother turkeys. Okay, so mother turkeys are really, really good mothers.
They are.
They take care of the little chicks. They bring them to each other. You know, they like clean them off, and they really take care of them. Okay, but there's an enemy of turkeys. One of the main enemy of turkey mothers is polecats. And
I don't know what a polecat is.
Really?
I mean, I probably do. I just like it. There's probably another name, and so I'm like, I'm confused.
So,
but it's okay.
These polecats, and they will kill the baby turkeys. Okay, and so these little baby turkey chicks are roaming out there, and the mother will take care of them, but only so long as they make this little cheep cheep sound at this certain frequency. Okay, cheep cheep cheep. I don't know how they sound, but cheep cheep cheep. Now. And you can read more about this in Robert Cialdini's Influence book. But this is so fascinating. So there's these baby chicks. They make this cheep, cheep sound.
Yep.
Now, if for some reason they don't make the little cheep, cheep sound, the moms start freaking out and will either not take care of them at all or kill them.
Which is crazy.
Because the mechanism that initiates the loving...
maternal care.
The maternal care is actually that sound. Okay? Now... The moment that they see a polecat and they're like hyper aware, they get violent. They go directly to the polecat. They start clawing and pecking and like flapping and just freaking out and to run the polecat off.
And turkeys are not small.
They're like
they will hook you. They will hook you up.
Yeah, they're scary kind of. If they're
like you don't want to get you don't want to get swiped by a turkey talon.
No, them things are big.
I know.
And so anyway. So they run them off. Now, there were some researchers that were trying to figure out
doing crazy experiments.
Just doing crazy experiments on turkeys. And now understand that what's about to happen here nature
with turkeys, because they weren't doing anything to the turkeys necessarily. So
true story.
I don't want people to think that they were doing fair unpopular things.
So they were experimenting with some turkeys. And what they did is they actually took a stuffed polecat.
Right.
Okay. And they drug it by a string. And the moment that mother turkey saw it, went after it. Okay.
Yep, like they expect.
Just like they expected. The next time they record
the cheep sound.
The baby chick sound like cheep, cheep, cheep.
Yep.
And they record it and they hide that device inside the polecat. The moment the mother turkey hears that cheep, cheep sound from a distance, she heads that way, gathers the stuffed polecat under her, brings it back to the nest, starts hovering over and caring for it. But then they suddenly turned off the cheep, cheep sound. And it
starts freaking out.
Violent, immediate response. People think, okay, well, that's a weird animal behavior, right? But the reality is people behave like that all the time. And there's a specific example that Robert Cialdini talks about in his book as a bridge between that analogy and that pre-frame to the next idea, which is humans are just like that we have these mechanisms because the sound is the physiological mechanism that initiates the mothering instinct. Okay? The absence of that sound lets in maternal mode, it lets the mother turkey know this is a potential threat.
Right.
Okay. So, and that's how it behaves. Now, in nature, that would never be a problem because a polecat's never going to have the cheep, cheep sound.
And never can replicate it or anything
never
like
can
it.
replicate it. So there's no chance of that.
So it's it functions exactly how
functions exactly the way God designed it to function.
Right.
Okay. So
we just hijacked it.
We just hijacked it. And so,
we like to do that all the time.
Exactly. And so when it comes to people, there was this famous experiment at a college where they were finding out how compliant people were to let people step in front of them for a Xerox machine. Okay, so this is a pretty old experiment. So they needed to copy. So there's this big long line. The person rushes up and says, I have 5 pages to copy. Can I cut line? Like 30% agreement. Like very low. Like
yeah.
Oh no, 60%. I think it was 60% agreement. Still very low, comparably. Like most people, like half the people.
You're almost had half.
Basically, half the people said, "No, you can't just cut in front of me. I've been standing here forever.
Right.
So I'm sorry, but I I have the same thing you do, things to copy, so I'm not.
I have 10. Great.
Exactly.
Cool story.
So then they decided that they were testing whether a reason would make a difference.
Sure.
So if someone had like a real big reason, like they were in a rush, like they were running late for class.
Yeah.
So this same big line, person comes up, says, "Hey, excuse me, is there any way I can cut line because I'm late for class and I only have 5 copies?"
Yeah.
Okay. 94% compliance.
That's a big jump.
94. It went from 60% to 94%. So, like, okay, well, she did have a good reason, though.
Yeah.
Right? She's late for class, only 5 copies.
Right.
Right? Like, so, yeah, I could see why somebody would let them in rather than not having one. But here's where it gets just like the baby turkey. And here's where it gets wild.
This is so crazy.
This is so crazy.
I know because I read the book. But
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
So they do the experiment again, but this time they don't give a reason. They actually repeat what they said at the beginning, but they add a word that they added the second time at 94%, and which is the most powerful word, probably one of the most powerful words in existence, the word because. And what happens is what they found out is when humans hear the word because, it really doesn't matter what the reason is that follows the because. It triggers the brain to expect a valid reason.
Right.
Because generally, people, when they say that word because, they
Have a valid
typically
reason.
have a valid reason.
Yeah.
So then, therefore, the brain makes the jump. Instead of processing the reason before it makes the decision, it makes the decision of acceptance before the reason is given. And so how they know this is the person ran up and they said, "Hey, I've got 5 copies. Can I cut line because I have 5 copies?"
Yep.
Like they just repeated the first line.
Yep.
93% compliance.
So crazy.
93. And so literally, can I cut line? I have 5 copies.
Because.
No, wait. Number one.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I have 5 copies. Can I cut line? 60% compliance. So 40% said no.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I cut line because I need to cut line, right? Or I have 5 copies. Can I cut line because I have 5 copies? 93% compliance, only 7% rejection rate.
So crazy.
Right?
That's so crazy.
It went from a 40% rejection to a 7% rejection because of one word.
So crazy.
Because. And so it's just like the baby turkey.
Yep.
Or the mother turkey situation, because the mother, just the cheap sound initiated a certain behavior. And that word because initiates a certain behavior. And people don't understand how that it's used in sales presentations. People don't, and this is child's play in sales presentations.
Or just in general, right? Or just happens in general.
Politicians specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Like politicians are masters at that word, but not just that word. But more than the politicians are actually the influencers that actually control the narratives now. Right, so the news stations which are like legacy influencers, right, like the Anderson Coopers of the world, for example, and then you get into the modern day, the Mr. Beasts of the world, that are not necessarily inherently political,
right,
but the reality is all those things lend to political,
of course, because it's a social. They're lending to the greater social construction,
exactly.
And so it will become political no matter what, because that's what politics are. It's actually
the most
part of.
Well, Aristotle talked about politics in his book Politics, and he says that now, this is a wild thing that he says.
Okay,
this is absolutely wild.
I'm ready.
Okay,
I think
he said that politics. So politics is like how a bunch of individual things function in the whole. That's what politics is.
Okay.
Okay. And so he says that ants are very political.
Okay.
Right? Because they're all supporting the one queen.
Yep.
They're doing their job.
Yep.
They have their individual functions. Bees are very political.
Okay.
Right? They're very. And then he goes on to say that humans are way more political then bees are ants.
Okay.
Which is like a wild statement, because you don't think of a human generally as being that interconnected with that greater community, and how important the individual roles and functions are to make that society function.
Oh, they're huge.
The reality is it's almost indescribable.
Oh, yeah.
At how interconnected we are.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous.
And so when people say, I don't want to get political, or I don't want to get into political conversation, you don't understand. Like, every aspect of your life is political.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't know it.
Yeah.
And by refusing to have a conversation in that, because most people, the most meaningful conversations end up being political in some nature. Maybe not overtly in the sense of who you're voting for,
right,
but the underlying value structures that govern how you behave in any situation definitely is political. That's the reason why Christianity itself is a political religion, as all religions are political, because they inform a community. They're informant of a community,
right?
And so, from
they establish the value structure.
That's the thing. And laws, what are laws? Laws are extensions of value. You're saying this is not allowed. This is allowed based on a more broad stroke of what is good or evil. Right? So murder is evil.
Right.
Taking someone's life is bad. Correct. So then therefore, if you kill somebody, then you might get the death penalty because of that. Right? But that is only able to be enforced politically or through a governmental agency, because first, the moral substrate was already there.
Yeah.
Because all of history, people haven't always agreed that murder is wrong.
Right.
In fact, there's most of all of human existence, people thought that there was different classes of people to be able to then, if they were of a lower caste, for example, then they were of a lower value. And if they were a lower value, then they could be taken out if they were, said, owned or chosen by a higher classed person to be a drain on the system, for example, which of course today we find abhorrent, but that's only because we have a Christian substrate of values.
Which I actually find it very fascinating, that the definitions for murder and the different punishments, actually our current system aligns almost identically with the Bible. If you go back to I don't know if it's in Numbers or Deuteronomy, but they basically have manslaughter and murder both, right? Because they talk about if it's premeditated or if it happens by accident.
That's right. And there's differences.
There is a difference.
Yes.
And there's a different punishment.
That's right.
Right? But
in the biblical landscape.
In the biblical landscape, there's literally, if it happens by accident, here's the punishment. If it happens premeditated, here's the punishment, right? And they're separated out in the Bible. And they literally translate almost exactly to our current law.
And it spans classes.
It does.
And that's actually one of the huge outlying things in the Old Testament, is that it broadened it to include
anybody. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Protection under the law.
So I want to go back to the turkey thing.
Let's go back to turkey. Turkey, gobble, gobble.
So the turkey thing. So I actually have an example a story of me that happened. That's the turkey thing happening in real time.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Super embarrassing because it's so ridiculous, but I couldn't explain it at the time, right? Because it was high emotions and all that. So I live in Florida. You've been to Florida.
Crazy
traffic, right? Crazy traffic.
Florida man.
Right, Florida man. So we were going to our gym in Florida, and we were driving, and I'm stopped at a red light, right? And so we're in a turn lane, and there's two turn lanes, the light's red, but this is a weird day because across the intersection, another, 300-400 feet, there's a power line down, right? And so all traffic coming towards me is closed. You cannot come towards me, right? There is no oncoming traffic at all because there's literally a live wire laying in the road, and the power people are there fixing it. And there's cops everywhere, right? There's no oncoming traffic. So I'm sitting at this red light. The 3 lanes of traffic the green light comes on. Well, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I'm like, okay. And I know the light's not that long. Someone beeps, and I think they beep for somebody in the straight lane, but I don't know. So in my head, I'm like, oh, well, maybe they're beeping at me because we're supposed to go because there's because they're trying to get traffic moving. This is the thoughts, and this is me.
And it happens like super quick.
But this is me looking back on it, trying to figure out why the heck I did this. So I'm like, you're right, I can go because it's impossible for there to be oncoming traffic. So I'm like, all right. So I make the left. And Laura, by the way, Laura's in the front, and she's yelling. She's like, what are you doing? She's like, don't. I'm like, it's okay. And she's like, no, don't turn. And I'm like, it'll be fine. So I turn, literally, I don't even finish the turn, and there's a cop behind me, flips his lights on and pulls me over. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I literally, like, I was sitting there, and I'm like, I'm an idiot. Like, why would I, like, and I know, and then, no joke, like, by the time he gets to my car, all the people that were in the lane behind me are passing us because they just made the turn. Because it's like 20 more seconds the light turns. And so Laura's seething. I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, I don't need to pay like a $200 ticket right now and all this stuff. But I did it anyway. Yeah. Why? And so the only thing that I can think of is the beep, because people in Florida are impatient. And so like if you wait at a light for too long, you got like 2.5 seconds and then people are beeping. There's no grace period at all. So the only thing I can think is the beep made me think that I need to be going.
Yeah.
And so then I rationalized all the other stuff immediately, right? Because like that's my first moving violation.
So the beep
that was not an accident, right? Like I had one accident when I was like 17. I've never had a ticket. And I've been driving for a long time, and it drove really far, and I've never done something that stupid.
Now think about this. This is so wild, right? The beep pre-framed all the rest of the sequence of events.
It pre-framed it, and it was like the because. It was like, time to go. Why? Because.
But the feeling...
Yeah.
Like that initiated the feeling. Once the feeling was initiated, then the brain... found the available facts to fit that narrative, that feeling narrative.
Right. Because if there's normal Florida traffic coming, you can beep all you want. Like, where am I going, dude? The light's red and there's cars everywhere. But because of all the events, it was like, oh, okay, cool, I'll go. Minus the fact there were like 12 police cars there directing traffic. Like, hello, you missed that thing. But other than that, like... so crazy.
Well, and what's fascinating is the more things that's going on simultaneously, like when stress increases, you're actually more, in general, you as a human, you're more succumb to this. This is the reason why people like after a really heavy day and they're full of decision fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's the moment they're going to eat something bad.
Yeah,
or that's
of course.
the moment when they're going to just stream on YouTube nonsense, cat videos and stuff, things that's just not good for your brain.
Cat videos.
Right? Like watch dinosaurs fight or something. Right? I don't know if I've watched like reenactments of dinosaurs fighting before, or like I wonder what would happen if a tiger and a lion fought.
Oh,
who would win, right?
Those ones, okay. The dinosaur one, I'm like, really?
Yeah,
anyways,
like they got them in there.
I'm sure they do.
I usually don't watch the dinosaur ones because I'm like, there's like,
how do you know?
What do they actually know about anything about dinosaurs? Like
they know what the bones look like. That's about it.
That's it. And they're like, oh, this one had a special mating call, and it really liked, anchovies or something.
Right.
They'll say these random
y'all made
things.
all that up.
It's like, you just made all that up. Like, we used to think that they were all scaly, and now we think they're covered in feathers. Like,
can y'all pick, please?
Like what? Are you sure? Like, it's so wild.
Oh, man. Yeah, so that's like...
The amount of science that they say is science that is not science at all is so ridiculous. The religiosity
of science
is insanity.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And people don't understand just how easily you can lie with statistics and data and things. It's so ridiculous. Well, I know you can.
I do, because I worked at a manufacturing plant, and, well, your bosses tell you that number needs to look better. We're not getting in trouble from the CEO. We have to present this presentation to the CEO, get rid of that outlier.
So let's
change the whole thing.
Let's do some conversating on how these things actually can apply. Like, so I want to bring up another bias.
Okay.
That and tell a story about the bias and how often it happens. And one for me that it happened, and it's called the availability misweighing bias. Okay. Availability misweighing bias is something that happens when you have something near you.
Okay.
And if it's near you, it's higher in value. What's the matter? Oh, it just need to be tighter.
I think.
So the availability misweighing bias states that if it's near you, you end up assigning more value to it than it actually ought to have. So, for example, if someone's in a sales presentation, for example, and they're focusing in on a thing, then they're more likely to buy the thing during the presentation than they are if they wait 2 weeks from then, because it's far away from them.
Yeah.
Okay, but in the moment, it can be really, really powerful. One time but this is not just in a sales presentation, this is in everything. So I had bought my second restaurant, which was an old Wendy's building.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I've told you this story.
Yeah, you've told me this story. It's a great story.
It's such a good story. So we were, if you go into a fast food Wendy's, right, you there's that counter where they take your order and stuff like that, and the little walk line thing.
Yep.
So we took all the walk line thing down because we were a sit-down restaurant. But we did have like a cafeteria style lunch plate, like a meat and three type thing for lunch, so people could get in and out quickly. And so we would do meat and two, meat and three, do chicken and dumplings and green beans and mashed potatoes, for example, and rolls. And so people would come, but we wanted a way to get one of those cafeteria like steam tables right there, so that people could come, say what they wanted, we dip them out, they go sit down, and then they pay afterwards. And so we were looking at this giant, big counter.
Gorgeous counter.
Yeah, and it was nice, and it was a big, giant counter. And we were like, okay, how can it's a little too wide. We're going to have to trim it out because our servers need to be able to come in this way with dirty dishes and come out this way with clean, with good food, so that there wasn't constant.
Yeah, you don't want collisions.
Don't want collisions. So we were trying to figure out a way for the servers to make paths so easiest to clean up and to get new food out. And so we were redesigning all this stuff, and we're like, okay, well, we can take this and we can saw it down here. If we do that, we'll have to put this wood on the back. And like for 2 days, we like sat here and like was drawing how we can make this thing out. And we were standing there and we were looking at it, and me and my dad's super smart, and he was coming up with all these things, and we were measuring, and we're like, okay, we could do that, and then we could cut a giant hole in the center of it, and we could drop in a steam table pan. Like we were putting all this energy on this.
Yeah.
Okay. We're doing the calculation. It was like, and then I'd just been reading about the availability misweighing bias, and I was thinking to myself, wait a minute. I wonder how much it would cost to just buy a steam table and build a bar here and get rid of this giant thing. And it was going to be like the same price.
Or less.
And it was or less, and it was going to take way less time.
Oh, yeah.
Like way less time.
So then it's automatically cheaper.
Because it takes so... And I said, wait a minute, Dad. I still remember like realizing that I was in it.
Right.
So wait a minute, Dad. Let's just stop everything for a second. Let me look online and see how much a brand new steam table, no used crap, brand new steam table, and how much one single wall will take us to build, right? And I said, you know what? Let me post this giant thing because it had a lot of stainless steel on it. I said, let me just post this on Facebook Marketplace and tell everybody, because a lot of people was watching us. We were streaming live on Facebook when we was doing all the renovations. It's like, hey, we got this thing right here. If y'all know anybody, y'all can have the whole thing if you want to take it out of here. And that thing was like big. There's no me and my dad taking it out. We was going to have 4 or 5 people.
Right.
And literally within hours, someone came, picked it up, brought like 4 people with them, took it out for us, unbolted it from everything, took it out, and then we were done. And we ate, and we just bought the thing and set it there. And what had happened is because it was in front of us and it was valuable, the value of it increased in a more potent way than what it would be had we been analyzing it from a distance.
Right.
And so that availability misweighing bias happens to people all the time. So availability misweighing bias happens when you're standing in the checkout line and the chewing gums there, or the mints are there, or the Altoids are there, or the magazines are there,
or the toys,
or the toys, like whatever it is, little light up
candy
things,
bars.
right? Ring pops, whatever it is, that's availability misweighing bias, because you passed most of that stuff actually in the grocery store part of it. But when you're standing there and it's right there, and you don't have 24 other candy bars to pick from, it's just that one staring at you.
Yep.
Its value increases in it, like, or for example, the 20-ounce sodas that's right there at the checkout counter. It's like, wait a minute, you can get a 2 liter, like 60
Get the
foot
whole
away,
pack.
you can get you can get a whole pack for the same amount, right?
For almost the same price.
You can get a 2 liter at the exact
Yeah.
exact same price, right? A 2 liter,
double the amount, half the price.
right? Isn't
So
that crazy?
It's so
but because
crazy.
it's right there, called that availability misweighing bias.
Yep.
And there's something called, Charlie Munger would talk about, he called it the Lollapalooza. And the Lollapalooza was when you can get multiple cognitive biases to stack at the same time. And if you can do that, it's almost impossible for the human to say no to it.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's so many of those turkey triggers
Yep.
in the brain,
Yep.
turkey-like triggers
Yep.
that are happening, right? And this happens all the time. And I mean, that's one of the mechanisms that we function off of when we increase business sales, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is we look into how can we leverage more of these things in a ethical way.
Yeah, my favorite. So like if you go to like Marshalls or TJ Maxx or anything, so they started. So before you should just you'd go go stand on a corner.
I was thinking
right,
the
and they had
same
lights,
thing. I almost brought this up. I'm glad
and
you
they
did.
put they changed it because I remember it's like not
Just a few years ago.
Yeah, it was a few years ago. They changed it and they built a line like a funnel, right? They built a funnel, and the whole way down it are all these little knick-knacky things that are super easy yeses, right? They're little tiny knick-knacky things all the way through. And
Low cost.
And if the line's long enough,
Yep.
you're stuck and you can't do anything
But look around.
but look at those. I mean, you can because most people just look at their phone. But if you're not looking at your phone, and your kid's probably not looking at the phone because they're like, what about this? What about this? What about this? I want this. How about this? This looks cool, right? And the likelihood of you buying a couple extra things, so high.
Oh my gosh.
So brilliant.
The amount of millions of dollars. And you noticed it first happened at like TJ Maxx, and then it started expanding to
It's at
every
Home Depot
store.
now.
Isn't
in
that
their
crazy?
self-checkout because they have this big funnel and it's a bunch of little like razor blade. It's like all like the little
all
tiny
the little things that you know you're going to need
Right.
that you could use, but you didn't
it's
go
like
pick up.
drill pit pack. It's like tape measures. It's the little
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It's the pencils
brilliant.
for marking your stuff because you're standing there and you're like, oh crap, I need that. Right, battery, like all the little stuff that you might have forgot.
That's right. That is
So good.
It is so good. It is so good. Right? Because there's only, for anybody, and we'll need to do a podcast episode on this, but for anybody out there that's trying to increase revenue in their business, there's literally 3 ways to do it, and only 3 ways ever. There's 3 ways. We made a course about this one time, right? There is more people. Right, you just get more people in the door to come buy stuff.
Yep.
Right, you get those people to spend more money when
Right.
they're there, which
Yep.
is what we're talking about here. They're
Yep.
spending more money when they're already in the room.
Yep.
And then number 3 is you get those same people to come in more often.
Yep,
They
you get them to come back.
Come back and come out more often. Those are the only 3 mechanisms. Literally for any business, it is the only 3 mechanisms to make more money.
Yep.
Is more people, more money, more often. That's it.
Yep.
More people, more money, more often. And if
That's
you can
what-
get all 3 of them, and actually more people is usually the most expensive,
Yeah, it's the hardest.
right? It's the hardest. But the more money one is the easiest
Yep.
by far. And the more often one can be easy. And it becomes even easier depending on the type of business model it is, right?
Literally, so I just thought of this. So if you think about it, pretty much every major retailer has a credit card.
Of course.
Why? It's more often. Because you can only use that credit card there.
That's right.
Right? But it gives you extra leeway. You can do more with it, right? So you have extra money, which you don't actually have, but that's their way to get you to come back and buy with them.
Now, most of them, though, are not only there anymore. They're Visas, so they expand to you can use them anywhere.
Oh, really?
And they love that. And the reason why they love that is because
they get a kickback.
They get a kickback. They get an extra percentage no matter where you spend money. So when they're getting charged interest, they're
taking a percentage,
or they're getting a percentage. So that's another way to leverage more money
right.
and more often, even if they're not shopping in their store.
They're not shopping in my store. You just have my credit card.
So they've acquired the customer. Now
right.
that we've acquired a customer, we'll give you 20% off right now if you
Yep.
sign up for this credit card.
Yep.
Right now, that'll save you $150 off this order right now. Of course they want you to do that because then once you get the credit card and then you go to Home Depot, they make money.
Yep.
And they make money at Home Depot, and when you go to Olive Garden, and when you go to
Lowe's,
and when you get gasoline, and wherever you go.
So crazy.
Right? It's so insane. Right? That's the reason why every single company wants their own credit card.
Yep.
Right? Because they can make money multiple times. Even though it's tiny, if you have a large slew of customers.
They have a huge customer base, though.
It's just little slithers. I learned that when I was in credit card processing sales. Because then I was like, oh my crap. Like, what? Like, oh my crap, that is insanity. Because once I found out that the guys that come into mom and pop shops and put little credit card machines there,
mm-hmm.
right? Sometimes like that one little credit card machine, that business is going to pay $20,000 for that little machine because they lease it and they're going to lease it for 5 years.
Yep.
And it's a non-breakable lease. Ooh. Okay, so you have to pay it. It's going to cost you $20,000. Or at least like 10, okay? Now,
here's transactions.
No.
Straight
up plus transactions. Yeah, it's insanity. Now, it's gotten less and less like that because I couldn't never set up people in lease because I was a business owner and I was like it made me make it like, cause the reason why the salespeople love it is because they get big money up front.
Right.
Because they're going to get a percentage of that now. Right? Because the lease company pays the credit card company.
Right.
And the lease is going to handle that. But now the credit card company, but what attracted me to the credit card business, and I didn't do it for very long, but what attracted me to it was, wait a minute, if I could go into this business and get them to use our services, and I could go to this business, use this services, and they're going to pay credit card fees no matter what they do.
Yep.
If I can help them actually cut some of their fees, and then I can get like a quarter of a penny every transaction. If I have 200 businesses paying a quarter of a penny every single time a penny comes in, then you can get $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month in residual commissions.
Right.
Now, I never got anything like that. I think the highest I got was just, 20 or 30 businesses at the time, and then I quit doing it because I was getting $4 from this business every single month, and it was taking me a lot. Like 2 weeks to get one set up because nobody wants to switch their credit card processing services.
Because it's crazy.
It's easy, but it feels like it's going to be hard, right? It's like, wait, and then are they in a lease? Or did they get taken advantage of already?
Right.
And then you have to unravel all the crap that they don't even know they're in. But my cousin now, he's got like 400 or 500 businesses that pay him every single month.
Right. So
and he treats them good.
Yeah.
And so he establishes a relationship with them and he gets a good commission, right?
Yeah, of course.
He's not getting filthy stinking rich, but he's got a good income coming.
Yeah.
And he's not having to recreate that income every single day. He's going to get new.
Right. He's going to get new, and the subscriptions are essentially taking care of themselves. They're minimal input.
They're minimal input.
Right.
And as you know,
that's why subscriptions are powerful.
That's well, and that's more often, right? And so that's more often, and then he goes to get new customers, right? And then you can't really control the more in credit card processing, the more money, but you can if you sell them a POS system, right? Then they spend more money, right?
So my favorite subscription one that blows my mind is Costco. You know why? Because Costco, I think it's like 70% of their profits come from their membership, not from their sales of their stuff.
Oh, wow.
70% comes from the membership. And it's a yearly membership.
That's insane. I got to get my water.
All right, you get your water. But, you think about that. You've been to Costco. Go to Costco on a busy day. Go to Costco. Oh, wait, here, let me do it better for you.
So that's
Go
actually
to Costco.
It's not their break even, but that's almost like a inverted
Their
SLO.
product stuff is their break even.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I'm saying. It's like an
covers all
inverted
the-
SLO,
yeah,
right?
right.
So for anybody in the audience, a SLO is a self-liquidating offer.
Yep.
It's an offer where you are, like, for example, if I had a sales funnel and I said, here, look, this Lord is my shepherd mug, Psalms 23. I love it. It's awesome. It's actually one of my favorite mugs. And you can get one right now, free right now. Just cover the shipping.
Right.
I'll pay. And then I could acquire you as a customer.
Right.
And as long as I broke even on this mug, then I didn't actually spend. Because if you paid the
Right.
shipping and my shipping was high enough to cover my ads
And the cost
and
of
the
thing.
cost of the cup, then therefore I acquired a customer for free,
$0.
For $0. And so what you're saying is Costco is almost an inverted version of that.
Correct.
Where all the product is actually the self-liquidating offer.
Right. The product is covering all their
But the
operating
only way to get to that
is through a membership.
is through a membership, and that membership is the profit.
Membership's a profit. So crazy.
That's brilliant.
It's so crazy. And if you've been there on a busy day, like, it's insane.
I didn't know that. I did not know
Oh
that.
yeah. And that's their model. But if you've been there on a busy day, go to Florida. Like, the Costco's around here are great. Like, they're so sleepy town. Like, Florida, you go any day of the week and it's like insane
They're
all
so
the time.
sleepy town. I like that phrase that you dropped.
It's a sleepy town.
It's a sleepy town.
It's compared to, you compare it to Clearwater, Florida, it's sleepy town. Trust me. Anyways, like, you go there and they're super efficient, and I love going to Costco because it's just like boom, boom, boom. You get through the lines, but there's a boatload of people there, and some of those people have 2 carts and they're brimmed. So they're spending $500,000-$600,000 coming through. They do a lot of they move a lot of product through there, but that's not where they're making their money. It's kind of like Walmart, right? What, they make 30%? That's it. Like, that's the model.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what it was.
That's
I don't
what
know
for years.
I
yeah.
don't know if it still is.
It's a
but
great book, actually. I don't know if you've ever have you ever read? Do I have it up here? I have it
Is
somewhere.
it Sam? Or something like that?
It's some America. It's Sam
Yeah.
Walton's book.
Yeah,
though.
Sam Walton's book. I don't think I've read all of it.
It's his
I read-
autobiography. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
I listened to that on audio one time when I was washing dishes at the restaurant years ago.
You sound like me. I used to listen to audiobooks on my way to and from work because I drove 45 minutes to an hour.
So yeah, what I would do
just burn through books.
when I got most of my good business knowledge actually came from
washing dishes.
washing dishes and or opening the restaurant early before any of my employees got there.
Yeah.
And I'd go in and I'd cook a whole bunch of stuff getting
Yeah.
ready, try to cut costs on labor at the time.
Peel potatoes.
And I usually didn't do that one. But I did a lot of stuff.
I actually like peeling potatoes. It's a little
But
bit
it
like-
was so
Yeah.
was so useful. And I would try to encourage some of my employees. I'm like, listen, when you're
Listen
back
to-
here and doing nothing, just listen to audiobooks. It's going to like accelerate your life.
Yeah.
You could like literally get like way better than a college education.
Oh my gosh.
If you're literally just sit like doing your job and just because these are job like the potatoes, like cutting
Yeah.
onions, like washing dishes, like some of that like almost feeling like busy work stuff
Yeah.
is like magical time because your brain is also in that wavelength of
Yep.
receptiveness, right? Because you're just kind of zoned out doing your thing.
Mowing the lawn.
Right, exactly. And you can have these huge ahas in your life. Some of my biggest business ideas came from doing like mundane stuff.
Washing dishes.
Yeah, like mundane stuff. Listen to audiobooks and then figuring out how I can liken it to myself.
Yep.
You know, here's a piece of advice actually for people out there because we've talked about this a lot, and this is kind of a segue, but I think it's useful
okay.
as just for the audience particularly.
We talked about a lot of things a lot.
We did.
So I'm really curious where you're going here.
So we often talk about like when we build webinars or when we build sales presentations or VSLs or just whatever we build, an advertisement or something. People are so, and I've heard Russell talk about this, when Russell would pitch ClickFunnels, he would say, look how good it is for all these things. And then people at the end of the presentation would see him at the hotel walking down the hall and they'd be like, oh my gosh, I loved your presentation. And he was like, oh, great. I hope you enjoy the software. And they're like, oh, no, we didn't buy the software. He's like,
Why?
Why? I mean, you said you loved it. They said, well, I couldn't see how it could work in my business.
Right.
Like, he was like, no, but it's like the easiest thing. What your business you're in?
Right.
Know, car lot. I sell cars or sell insurance or whatever. It's like, that's like the easiest thing to apply to ever. Like,
right.
what
Here
are you
it
talking
is.
about?
Right.
Like, and people are so quick to say, oh, that's so neat, but it won't work for me.
Right.
Because.
Because.
And that word because, right. So they've already made the decision
They
that they
justified it.
can't get better
Yep.
And that's a preloaded decision earlier. Like they can't actually. There's no real mechanism in the vehicle that they're in.
Right.
And so that they kind of just have to deal with it. And opportunities are for other people. But the reality is. And you'll delude yourself when you when you think like that.
Oh, yeah.
You listen to a sales presentation or just a teaching presentation that has something on the back end, and someone is like, you're like, oh, yeah, that's good, but I think I'll wait. Well, it's like, no, that is a decision.
Yeah.
Like that, I think I'll wait, is a decision. Like you're not thinking about it. That's not actually what's happening. You made the decision not to, and now you're going to justify why you made that decision.
Yep.
And that goes right back to what we talked about earlier in pre-frames. So whatever you've preloaded the decision with, that's going to happen. And so we've talked about it, how that when people they can't liken it to themselves. They have a really hard time taking a concept
and
extrapolating that concept to how it works for them specifically
in their domain.
Right. And that's something that you got to push yourself to do. Like to stop at saying the statement that won't work for me to how
can it work for
can this work for me?
Right.
What is happening there that's causing it to work, and how can I do a similar thing in this
It doesn't
domain?
have to be exact, right?
Exactly.
But what concept can I take out of that and insert into whatever you have going on?
Oh,
right?
Exactly. And you don't always know until the opportunity arises. So, for example, this is so fascinating. So, when I first got interested in like sales funnels and stuff, of course, I had the restaurant. Never any examples of a restaurant.
Right.
I finally got to talk to Russell at his headquarters one day, and I was like, "Hey, Russell, I want to thank you for ClickFunnels and all your trainings because like I exploded my restaurant."
Using
your principles, using sales funnels. He's like, really? He's like, I've always wondered if it could be used in a restaurant, but I've never had a testimonial for restaurants. I was like, no, it works. In fact, I would create, now here's a fascinating thing. So I would create a sales funnel, and so I created a sales funnel for online ordering. So we found an online ordering system. We put our stuff on there. We built a pickup window to this shop, to our restaurant, and I did advertisements everywhere. I got Facebook advertising, and I put sales funnel. I said, hey, if you use our online ordering system for the very first time, I'll give you 40% off your first order, or a whole. I think I gave 10 free deals or something like that.
Right.
Like crazy amounts of stuff.
Yeah.
And these big coupons and stuff. And I said, you just got to use our online ordering system. But that's the only way. You can't call it in. You have to use our online ordering system because I wanted people to get hooked on being. Because I wanted to bypass the people wanting to go. I wanted to do multiple things. I wanted to decrease overhead because I wanted to increase to-go orders because it costs more to feed someone inside than outside.
Of course.
Because you have to treat them, and there's more things that can go wrong.
Absolutely.
Because if they don't get napkins quick enough, or if you run out of sauce,
or you ain't refilling my
water. If they ain't filling my water, there's like 1,000 things that can go wrong that can make you
I'm out of water.
Exactly.
Like what?
Exactly.
Like, it's free. You're like, all you got to do is come throw it in.
That's right.
You can see it's empty.
No, it's clear.
I even moved it out to the end so you knew.
Well, it's fascinating. Like servers, like new servers, I don't have a mental clock, and experienced servers have a mental clock.
Yeah.
And they have no idea. The new ones might have 5 minutes pass, and they don't think about someone that comes in and they're dressed like they've been working hard. That guy, you bring him a pitcher. Just set the pitcher
down. He would
down.
be more happy if you I don't need you to pour it for me.
Exactly.
I'm not here for that. I need it. Just set it down, and I'll be excited that I don't have to flag you down.
Exactly. And I would actually train my servers to do that. If you see somebody that looks like, especially if they drink the first bit in just a little bit, you will earn more tips by just bringing a freaking pitcher. I've got a whole bunch of them back here.
Exactly.
Go get the freaking pitcher.
Fill it with ice and water.
Fill it and go set it there.
Yep.
He will be your best friend for life.
Yep.
Because he's thirsty. Right? And he don't have to wait. And he's a big guy. He's 300 pounds. He wants to drink some water.
And you just saved yourself 5 trips. So you might as well.
I know. It's insane. So anyway,
good.
So it is good. Right? And it goes back to that, and I know we're kind of
weaving over the place.
But it goes back to people, problems, payoff. The profit framework.
Yeah.
The profit framework is person, problem, payoff.
Yep.
Like that. Like if you want a product that makes profit,
Yep.
You just need 3 things.
Yep.
You need to know the person better than they know themselves.
Yep.
And you need to know their problem. That's how you know their problem, by knowing them.
Yep.
And then you just need to know what payoff they want.
Yep.
And they will lay down
And you
so
solve,
much money.
you solve the problem for them.
You just solve that problem. You
Dan
just solve
Kennedy,
that problem.
my favorite description of it is Dan Kennedy talking about you need to be a spy. You
Yes.
have to engage in espionage.
Yep, that's right.
And
That's
you
right.
need to they need to think that you were sitting at their kitchen table between them and their wife, and you overheard all the things that they were discussing, and you solved the problem for them.
100%.
And they'd be like, "How did you know?"
That's right.
And that's where you want to be. Because
What-
if you're there and you solve that problem, they're throwing the money down.
They're throwing money down.
Guaranteed.
Well, and that's the reason why, like, I was talking about that to-go window.
Yeah.
Because what we did is we knew we couldn't cook fast enough to compete with fast food.
Right.
Like, there's no way we're gonna be able to cook a full steak dinner and all these things to compete. So what I said is you just pre-order. And so while you're sitting in the last 30 minutes of your job when you're really not doing anything, you're just waiting to punch the clock, right? Pull out your phone
And order.
order, right? And pick when you want to pick it up. And then when you drive by, it'll be ready for you.
Right.
And guess what you won't have to do? You won't have to clean up your kitchen later, right? You know what else you won't have to do? You won't have to go to the grocery store first because you realize that you're out of eggs and potatoes.
Or whatever-
right?
or whatever
else,
ingredient
the
that-
ingredient that you didn't have that you're going to have to go to the store to get. Like, you don't have to do that. So you're actually going to have more time with your family. You'll be a better husband, and you'll be a better wife and a better mother because you'll actually be able to spend the time with your children rather than spending the time trying to fix the food. It's just ready for you, and it'll be more nutritious than going to fast food and getting stuff. You'll actually get real food.
Yep.
Don't you want real food?
Yep.
And by the way, here's a buy one, get one 50% off if you do it right now. Right? And so, do you
Work
see?
like gangbusters.
Right, it worked like right. And then so people started doing that. And then I had sales automation emails that would go out to give them the next deal and the next deal and the next deal. And so when I needed, if it was a slow night, guess what I did? I'd launch off an email to the people, and the cheese fries orders would come in.
Yep.
Right? Because like, oh, I'll get that. And people,
Oh, yeah,
people
cheese
are
fries.
bored.
Love
That's
cheese
cool.
fries.
I'm gonna go get some cheese fries.
Right.
Like, that's cool. They're free tonight if you spend $30.
Of course, I'm going to spend $30.
Right? Exactly.
And cheese
right.
fries cost you nothing.
Right.
Not
And
not
so-
quite as cheap as the onion thing.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
still.
But faster to produce.
Well, if that
with
and
less
that
prep. So it depends on how you're.
depends on your
It
constraint.
depends on your constraint. Yes, that's right. And that's the reason manufacturing.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
It's such a reason why I
Oh,
say
yeah.
manufacturing. But so then later on, when I like changed the restaurant to like a healthy restaurant, and I closed down my first one.
More healthy.
Right. More healthy.
Well, I mean, like it's still a step up from fast food.
Oh my gosh! It was
So,
like-
right.
So when I switched to actually healthy, I did smoothie. I did a smoothie bar, and
told me about
I
this.
did not want. Now here's the wild thing: I did not want people, because the hardest thing to make money in a restaurant, particularly a small town restaurant, is lunchtime, because you got such a quick time,
Yep.
and you're only going to make $1 or $2. So you got to go through massive quantities of people,
Right.
in order, because if they spend $6 or $7, you might get 2 of those.
Right.
Like after the food costs
Yeah.
and stuff, you might get $1 actually to go to you, maybe.
Right.
Right. Like, and that's really pushing it, because you got electricity costs, you got
Oh,
everything,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
so and your cost of goods are going to be close to 50% at a low cost like that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh man, look at this. We're selling this hot bar thing where people are coming in, and it's costing $3 to get it, it costs $6 for them to get it, right?
Yep.
And we're working all morning, and then the moment we're out, we got to make more, and they can't wait because they got 30 minutes for lunch.
Yep.
So, and then they're only going to show up 1 to 3 days a week,
Yep.
because they're going to the other restaurants,
Yeah.
the rest of them. I was like, how can I get them to come every single day? And how can I increase the profit every single day? So what I did, I said, wait a minute. There was all these people want to lose weight and get healthier. So it's like, okay, we'll create smoothie, but we're going to call it a smoothie challenge. I built a sales funnel for it. I did ads for it, and I had them buy. I said, if you buy the full week worth of smoothies, you get to checkbox which flavor you want each day. and all you do is pull up to the window at your designated time, and we'll hand it to you. Then you can pay it all up front, and you don't have to make any decisions every day on where you're going to eat. You don't have to fight the crowd. You don't have to run through, and you're not going to make any bad decisions on your health journey because you've already made all these decisions. And then so people would buy $60 worth of smoothies right then, and I already took the money away from the other competing restaurants because they already are coming now
to you every day,
single day,
and
I made the sale once.
You made the sale once, and you knew what you needed for the whole week.
The inventory.
So
for the whole week.
now you're not. There's no waste, or there's not no waste, but your yield is much higher.
Yield is much higher, and it's easier to know how many employees I need to fulfill the orders, because the order's already there.
Improved yield.
And improve yield on every other domain. And I understood how to price things better, so the smoothies were actually, I put really good ingredients in there, so I could charge more than like a Smoothie King $3 powder thing, right? I actually used real fruit and vegetables, and so and alkaline water and all these things to make it like like
make it crazy.
Super sweet. And so people went nuts over them, and I named them all these cool things like the Chocolate Elvis, and the Chocolate Elvis. People loved the Chocolate Elvis.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
And it was so good. Like so many different things, peanut butter bonanza, and people just went nuts over them. And then people started sending me testimonials of them losing like an extra 10 pounds over a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, And they were like, the only thing I've done different is these smoothies. It's like, I know, because you haven't been putting fast food in you anymore.
Yeah, because your calorie intake went from 2,000 calories at lunch to 500 or whatever.
Actually, that was about right. And they would get these giant. I do these 32-ounce ones,
Of course.
And then they have more energy, and they didn't have this sloop. And so I would just hit all these different pain points. Person, problem, payoff, right? And so then I'd keep recycling that, and then I started doing deliveries, and I'd have these just in my SRX, because it was a small town, right? And because I was trying to tap into the corporate market, the manufacturing market, that if I could get like
if you get a corporate account,
because if I could get like 30 or 40 person at this people
at one
manufacturing, then I could just get there,
right? You just show up and unload everything and leave, and you're killing the game.
I never fully got that caught before I ended up selling the restaurant, but I did a few, but I didn't get them to as much
prevalent as you wanted.
As prevalent as I wanted. And then one time I made a mistake and ended up like having to drive like 45 minutes to deliver this smoothie. It was in DeKalb County, but it was like down by the lake.
The very corner.
Right, it was like down.
No direct route.
Because they were like, you sure you're going to come down to Belk? I was like, sure. Yeah, like it can't be that far. It's DeKalb County, right? Yeah. It's like 45 minutes later, I get there.
Off on some windy back road.
Yeah, my internet stopped working, so I got lost halfway there.
What happened?
I was like, so my GPS wasn't working right.
My gosh.
It was funny.
Oh, that's rough. That is rough.
But anyway, but the truth is like the things I've done for business is crazy.
Haven't we all?
Oh man, it's so crazy. Like most people don't realize how what it really takes.
Oh man, like to do insane stuff.
Just do insane stuff.
Oh, we're gonna do this crazy thing, and I'm gonna fight this crazy fire. How much are you getting paid for that? $0. $0. While your employees are getting paid their normal rate.
And not
that I care.
One of the things that's really frustrating is, I think right now in our business, the most frustrating thing, at least in our kind of our digital marketing business side, like where we're actually help businesses, is finding a business that has so much potential, and they don't know how much potential they have and how much money they can make. Right, so I'm sure you know who I'm talking about.
I have a pretty good idea.
So for the audience to fill them in, we have these clients have it's in flux right now, and because we're not sure we're going to continue, because we wanted to build an online digital product for them, or because we knew how good that product would be. So, well, first you need an audience, because their business has a lot of constraints.
Sure.
has a lot of constraints.
Normal service-based constraints.
Normal service-based constraints. We're like, we'll create a digital product, but first we got to build you an audience. So then I went and looked at this, okay? In 90 days, we got them 18 million views. So I had been saying 12, but I went back and I looked.
The 12 of it came in like 45, so.
Yeah, and so 18 million views, right? Like there was I helped repitch an offer that guaranteed 1 million views for $50,000. And we didn't charge $50,000 for that 18 million, right?
Nope.
So
ain't no 50 grand in there.
And then the thing is once the 18 million got there and all this attention got on them, they're like, yeah. And people are asking them, asking them, can I pay for a course that you built? And they're like, I'm sorry, we don't have one. And I know, we need to get one. I just don't know if someone will buy one. It's like, no.
They told you.
They just told you they're willing to hand you money right now.
That person right
there.
That
person wants to hand you money.
Yep.
And one person is 1 million people. And so the reality is there's, and right now but like dragging people to the finish line is not easy.
I think that, like, in my experience.
Like dream client. I love working with clients that like have a, some tenacity to them.
Well, tenacity, yes, but I like
vision.
All those things I think exist. I think the problem, at least that I've seen and what we've run into in consulting, is getting people up to speed, right? Like,
that is a big deal.
And like at least 50% of the conversation is getting them to understand the principle of why this thing that you're talking about will work. And then my favorite is like, and this has happened to me, like Laura and I, at least 4 or 5 times. Like, hey, we should, like, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want. You should do this. Ooh, I don't know, because of XYZ, like, my customers wouldn't like that, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, okay, sure, I hear all that, and we can, sure, there's a percentage of your customers that will not enjoy some aspects of what we just talked about. But it's not going to be all of them. And so what's your goal? Well, I really want more time, right? Like, this is a lot for me to fulfill and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, if you do it the way you're talking, you're not gaining that much. You might gain 10% back on time. If you do it the way we say, you're going to get 60% back, right? It's a little bit better. It's not a lot. It's 6 times. It's not that much. Well, then we go through the whole process. They're like, nope, I want to do it this way. Okay, great. And so then 8 months later, right? 8 months later, I think I want to do this. Are you serious right now? That's what we told you to do at the beginning. Like, that was what we said. Yeah. Now I have to go back, redo all the stuff, and spend a bunch of time fixing and changing all these things. This is what we should have started with. And you'd be farther down the line, and it would all be better. But it's all good. Like, right? Yeah. But like, you have to sell them on the idea. And so it's just, it can be exhausting.
Well, and and that like, that comes back.
Like, I run into that. I've ran into that so many times. So I'm just like, I don't want to talk to anybody else about how we can fix your business, because I know how to fix it, but you're not going to agree to fix it the way I think you should.
A business that's actually functioning, even if it's not making a lot of money, as long as it's like functioning, it's got a customer base.
Yeah,
that is the easiest type of business.
Only if you can get them to agree.
Well, for those that want to grow,
as long as you ain't got to tie them up and carry them the whole way.
for those that want to grow and are looking to grow, it's the easiest thing ever.
And are willing,
from a mechanistic standpoint.
Yeah, are willing to do something that seems radical to them.
Yeah,
like that. I think that's, for me, is like the biggest.
But it's usually not radical. It just feels like that.
That's why I said seems radical to them.
It feels that.
It feels that way.
It can for sure.
Well, change is always hard.
It is, but I think that goes back to the selling thing, right? Is really, at the end of the day, sales has to happen at every level, not just at the, okay, I got the sale, right? But also, like, throughout the process.
Sell them on the ideas.
You got to
all the
sell
way.
them on the ideas all the way through. It's just required.
Yeah.
You know, because we in Profit Passport course we talked about. I remember I taught a class on when you're like there's 3 different types of currencies that people pay with.
Yep.
And so there's actually has to be a sales presentation at
For
all
each
3
one.
levels.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's the like they pay with their following, like if they click follow
Yeah.
or like, you subscribe, any
Attention.
of those things, the attention, they're paying by following.
Yep.
And then, and that's the currency.
Yeah,
and
it
then
is.
the second type is financial. They pay with money.
Yeah.
Right? And then the third type is they pay with function. They actually have to do some things.
Yep.
They actually have to act
Yeah.
on those things. And you know that the James, the book of James argument. Like,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like you show me, you say you got faith. Well, I'll show you my faith by my works.
Exactly.
Right? And so it's kind of in that same vein.
It definitely is.
You have to make sure that that you're selling to the function
Oh, yeah.
once you get the client. And
Yeah.
and I think that's the reason why a lot of courses are not very successful. Like there's a lot of guys that's really good on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of good front end guys,
Of course.
but most people suck on the front end. But the ones that make bank are really great on the front. But most of them really suck on the back end. Like their actual courses suck.
They're woefully awful.
And that's not always the case. There's some good ones out there, but like so many of them out there get so focused on that front sale, and they believe the front sale is the business, and that's it. And then they play the number game.
Well, so I would liken it to I'm going to liken it to manufacturing. And so I know. Okay, so one of the guys that I worked with,
If you hadn't seen our second episode?
Yeah, second episode.
Second episode. That's
Previous
why
one.
I'm laughing because
Yeah.
he did not believe that.
I was
sold
not
him.
in full agreement.
I sold him.
Was not in full agreement. But you got me. You didn't get me. You persuaded me.
Nah.
You persuaded me,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so one of the guys I used to work with, smart dude, one of his big things was don't get addicted, right? Because and we're talking, this is why I was a supervisor. He's like, don't get addicted to crisis management because it's a dopamine hit, right? And it is so dangerous, right? If you're a supervisor, if you manage people, one of the most dangerous things to do is become addicted to crisis management. So dangerous because what happens is you spend all your day fighting fires, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? Here's the real trap. You're a hero, and you feel great. You're the hero of the day
That's
because
most people's problem.
I know
all
because,
the time.
because
Not just in
no,
supervisor.
I know. That's why I was comparing it because you're the hero of the day because you're fighting fires and you're winning and you're doing something every day, but you're not building a plan for sustainability. Right? You will burn out, and it's very hard to transition out of firefighting mode into long-term planning and building system mode. And I would compare the front-end sales guys to that because they get stuck in the loop of selling and winning and selling and winning and selling and winning. But then the people aren't getting results in the back end and their course sucks because there's no fulfillment in that.
But this goes back to, wow, this is so powerful. That idea
Is that a good kind of like
is
bridge?
saying, oh my gosh. No, this is so good. We've never had this conversation, or at least not like this. So when people play the lottery, for example, why are you laughing?
I can't.
What?
There's so much. The only thing I can think of is Myron saying something about I can't do math. It's the I can't do math tax, right? Like the percentage chance of being able to win is so low, but if nobody plays, you can't have a lottery if nobody plays.
Yes. So think about this though. The reason why the people that usually buy lotto tickets most are people that don't actually have a lot of money. Okay. So reward is so big, even though the risk is so big of losing said money.
It's almost guaranteed.
Right? It's almost guaranteed. But someone is going to win.
Sure.
And because the investment to get to play the game
is so
little that it doesn't feel like it's a bad decision. Okay? So you get a dopamine hit for buying the lotto ticket, because then there's an expectation in the future of I gotta watch to see if I win. Right. I gotta scratch off the numbers to see if I win. Whatever mechanism of discovery happens, and then you're playing the game, and dopamine is firing in anticipation, because if you have anticipation towards a thing, dopamine is firing.
Yep.
If you're motivated towards a thing, dopamine is firing.
Yep.
Okay, you are dying to say something, I know, right now.
Oh, I have another thing. So continue, and then I'll tell you a theory that Laura and I came up with in Florida.
So here's what's fascinating is when you look at a thing, and people that are living paycheck to paycheck, for example, I've been there many times.
Oh, yeah.
And the time span that you can focus your attention on is short rather than long.
Yep.
And so it's very difficult to detect patterns or do any kind of compound long-term planning, because you're like, how do I pay my electric bill? How do I pay my rent?
I have to solve this
How
problem.
do I got to solve this problem right here, and it's a very close problem
Yep.
to you at the moment. Okay, and so that can get you actually addicted, because then you overcome that. Okay, relax.
I can breathe.
Okay, I can breathe. Okay, now the next one's coming up. Now it's like when you're getting ready, you're in the ocean and the waves are coming, right? It's like one of them knocks you down, for example, or hits you. You're like, okay, I got to get up. I got just a second to kind of get my bearings before I got to kind of brace for the next hit. And so if you're in that mode, it's very, very, very difficult to shift. And this is the reason what made me think about it with you talking about this crisis management mode, because it's kind of the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you get addicted to this short-term wins, short-term wins, short-term wins, short-term wins, and then you never actually build out a system to your life, and then you wake up 60 years old, and you never really built anything. You always had all these plans, you always had these big ideas, but actually the system was never built out.
Yep.
And that's building the system is absolutely critical, because systems are always superior to goals.
Yep.
Because goals are singular and direct and specific, and systems are general and directional.
Yeah.
Right? Directionally accurate rather than exact precision.
Right, because you can make adjustments.
Exactly, because you make adjustments as you continual improvement.
Yep.
And so you can continue to pump out new stuff if you have a system to work with, which is the reason why it's easier to work with businesses that already have something going, rather than getting started with a business that don't have anything going.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because there's already a generalized direction happening. And then so you can magnify that.
And you can make tweaks to the system that's already there.
Exactly.
And get exponential returns.
Exponential returns, because you just put leverage. You just put leverage. You just put in a lever.
Right.
Right. And so I find this with like people when it comes to even eating plans and losing weight. It's the same reality. Is typically people that have a weight control problem. It's they don't have any boundaries.
Yep.
And systems in place for how they eat food.
No guardrail.
There's no guardrails.
We like to say there's people that will eat. They will eat anything. Right? There is no pre-decision on I don't eat this.
Exactly.
I only eat this.
And their sole decision making is
Am
what
I hungry?
Sounds good.
Yeah,
what tastes good.
Right.
In
What
the
tastes good? Am I hungry? Any of those things.
And then what happens is then that becomes the dopamine. That becomes the wave just hit. Now I have a moment to get some dopamine, to relax, to get geared up for the next thing.
Yep.
And so then they work all day, they're stressed out, all these things happen, and they come home, they pig out.
Yep. Eat
right?
whatever you want.
Collapse.
Yep.
And then do it again the next day.
Exactly.
And then they do it next day. And I think that's the reason why so many people gained so much weight during COVID, actually.
Oh, probably.
Because they actually got home and they didn't have any system for any of those things.
Yep.
And actually their work was a makeshift system for controlling their eating, because they were working until lunch.
Yeah.
Right? And so there was some guardrails, even though it wasn't for food.
And then they were working from home, and they could literally get up at any moment, walk to the refrigerator that was full, and eat whatever they felt like.
Kitchen cabinets, everything pop open, and then they just exploded during COVID because they had no system.
Yeah.
They had no system. Systems are necessary. Guardrails, boundaries, necessary. Now, What did you and
ready?
Laura come into? I'm
Okay.
ready. I'm ready.
You ready for the
I'm ready.
for the dopamine? So obviously we live in Florida. Florida has superbly long lights, right? Because there's so many people. So like intersections take forever. Like you might sit at the intersection for 2.5 minutes. Well, Florida is also notorious for panhandlers, right? Usually in a lot of areas and major intersections, there's somebody there, hey, you know, need help, asking, they're looking for money, right?
Yeah.
And look, I'm not knocking on them. I don't know their situation.
I got a Florida story about that I've got to share.
Okay, yeah. But I'm not like, I understand that there are a whole long list of reasons those things happen. And I'm like, and I don't wish that upon anybody. Like that's not the premise of what I'm getting at. But I think what happens is people get to that point, but then they get stuck in the dopamine hit. And here's the thought. Now, a lot of these people look like they're probably quite capable of handling a job and holding a job, right? But think about what happened, what the difference in dopamine hit is. So I go to a job, I work, and I could potentially make more money, maybe not, don't know. But let's say for the sake of the argument, I make the same amount of money, right? Work at a job, I have stable income, like it's more stable than walking up and down the light and getting money from people. But my time to pay off is longer. When I walk up and down the median and I get somebody to say yes, I have the money in my pocket then.
It's slot machine.
If I go to work, I don't get paid for a week or 2 weeks. You usually don't get paid same day. And even if you do get paid the same day, I still have to work the whole 8 hours and then get paid.
The distance between the dopamine is longer.
Exactly. And so it's a trap, right? I'm not like, again, I understand that like that's a terrible situation.
And there's a lot of drug problems
and there's
in that
and there's
situation,
all these
yes.
other things that factor in. But if they're capable and can handle a job and can do the things, it's going to be, but if they spent a month panhandling, it's going to be significantly harder to go to a regular job because of the distance to the payoff is so much farther or further. And then I think this is the same jump that happens from employee to entrepreneur. Oh. Right? If you think about it, the jump out of steady paycheck to entrepreneurship is challenging because I don't know how long till the paycheck necessarily.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's the same, like it's the same concept. So you have to train yourself for a longer payoff.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have to be okay with longer spans between dopamine. Right?
Okay.
It's exactly like they're the same thing. And we didn't go to we didn't go to that second part. Like I just jumped to that second part. But
this is so good because
it's crisis management.
And it's actually, so if someone's standing there and they're asking for money, you know, with a sign, it is a continual slot machine.
Exactly.
Because you never know which pull is going to cause the because somebody's going to hand them $100
at some point.
I've given someone $100 before.
Right.
Like I don't talk about when I do it, and it's very much like I'm very quiet about it.
Yeah.
And when like I'm sitting there and like it feels like God tells me this is the person, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like something. I don't make a habit of just throwing money out to people, but I do try to listen. Do what?
I like to buy food for people.
Yeah. Well, I've done that before.
Well, that's my favorite. Like if you actually need something, like, you know, I'm hungry. Great. Here's some food.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm on the regular giving people like a jar of peanut butter and a thing of bread.
Yeah.
Like if you're hungry, here you go. Like this will get you some calories, right?
For sure. And
some water.
So that is an amazing observation.
So good.
Because it's a slot machine.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I didn't even think about slot machine
for a
part.
good reason or a bad reason.
Yep.
it doesn't matter. It still functions like a slot machine because there's an unpredictability to the predictability, right? And so somebody's going to do it, but you know that there's going to be a 777,
At
a cherry.
I just have to
right?
I just have to knock enough doors.
And and the slot machines are built by algorithm to make sure that it happens often enough to keep people putting in the coin. Okay, now expand that, to what you just said about entrepreneurship. And I just had a thought because the shift from the steady, predictable, I'm anticipating Friday's paycheck. I'm anticipating Friday's paycheck, right? Stability, but also knowing that it's coming, right? And if there's overtime or anything involved, is it going to be bigger? I wonder how much it's going to be this week. I can't wait to get it. It's going to come to me soon. Like that is a level of anticipation towards dopamine. Now, to shift from the entrepreneur standpoint, you don't have that same feeling of predictability, okay? But until the answer is until, because I was thinking about someone like a Dan Henry or a Russell Brunson, or someone that has an audience, okay, even a small one, but an audience and knows how to sell, okay, then they could never go back to the long expectation to get money. They actually can do it on demand like a slot machine. Okay, so they actually have shortened that they've built their entrepreneurial skills in a way so that it actually mimics more of the guy on the side of the road asking for money. Because it's a more sophisticated version, but in a sense, it's a sophisticated version. And
because this is just a sales pitch, and they have and I know because you'll be in a parking lot and you'll get approached by somebody, and they have a script. Like they didn't just randomly come up with what they said. They kind of did, right? But over time, this worked and this worked and this worked, and they've refined their sales script.
Well, and God will bless you if you give me money.
Or whatever,
I was thinking about from a payoff, right? So why have I ever given money? Like thinking back, if you've ever given money, why?
Because you felt good about it.
I think I felt like, for me, usually, that is true. But it's from the vein of God wants me to.
Sure.
And so now it becomes a religious payoff. In a sense. Right? Like from a feeling standpoint, not necessarily that I'm getting brownie points, because that wouldn't be theologically accurate. But the feeling is that you're being obedient in that way. And if you're being obedient, then you are in right standing with God, right? And so that's really wild to think about it, because if you think about people on the side of the road asking for money and it being a sales pitch, I was thinking about, what is the payoff that the person giving? What are they receiving, right? Because when you transact, you receive something. They're receiving that religious feeling of, I'm a good person, I've done this good thing, right? And
the good deed.
And the good deed feeling, right? And
I'm being helpful.
And my status is high because I can do this.
Because I help somebody.
Right, because I help somebody.
And
all those things are happening simultaneously.
I have discretionary money that I can help somebody that is
in
need.
Now let's go back to, or maybe I'm feeling bad about my financial situation, but I'm not in that situation.
But I'm not in that situation.
Right?
Right.
Exactly. And so if you think about it, and then you go to like a webinar or a sales page or anything, at the end of the day, you're leveraging that same status. You're leveraging that same, all those same things in the same way.
Emotional and
those emotional anchors. Those meaningful anchors, you might say. That's really fascinating to think. Right, and then so that then becomes a slot machine in and of itself, right? It's like, oh man, I can just I can send this email, and then I can get a bunch of people on a webinar, and I can do this thing, or
and that's why I was saying, like, that's, if we go all the way back to the original part of it, that's why the sales people that get addicted to that part generally don't have good back end systems, because the dopamine
because to do the back end system has a longer dopamine associated with it.
Exactly.
Unless you're a back end person,
right?
That has honed your skills in that,
right?
Then you're good at systems, but then the sales side of it is a longer dopamine, right?
Because you're not good at that because you haven't honed those skills.
That's so fascinating. That is so absolutely fascinating.
It's all microcosms themselves.
That's so fascinating.
Right?
I love that. Oh my gosh, that's so good. So at the end of the day, if you really suck in that arena, what you actually have to do, you either going to have, you're seeking someone with a shorter dopamine attached to the skill that you need, or you've got to flip and get yourself to have a shorter dopamine associated with that exact same skill.
Or just be okay with, you just have to.
Which is going to have time dilation.
Yeah, you're just going to have to get used to the fact that you're going to suck at this for a while.
And you got to keep doing it anyway.
And you just do it anyway and get the reps, right? Which is like always the case. Like
it's always the case with a new skill, right?
Any kind of new skill.
But you can't get, you as a human can't, so you don't want to try to get every skill in existence. No. All you want to do is find, you want to be competent in enough things that your talent stack will be like no other person, right? Because if you can have interrelated and sometimes non-related. So, for example, I can play guitar and mandolin. And so, not extraordinarily insanely, not a Nashville downtown.
Compared to who?
Right. But I can play guitar. And so, actually playing guitar helped me understand theology. So, for example, Jesus was resurrected on the 8th day. Okay. I mean, of course, the third day he rose, but I'm talking about from the sequence of our 7-day week that was established in Genesis is Sunday as the first day, right? And you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you got Sunday, first day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sabbath. Right? Yep. So you got Sabbath rest, okay? And then it starts again on Sunday. Yep. So if you do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the next one is 8.
Yep.
And Jesus actually resurrected on the 8th day. There was also, and that's the reason why in Hebrew culture, the number of 8 actually represents new beginnings or a start over, okay? So when you look at how many people were saved on the ark when all of humanity was wiped out with the flood, you have 8 people that restarts the earth. Yep. Okay, so 8 is a significant number in that pattern.
Yeah.
And so I noticed that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do and do is the same. It's an octave higher. It's the 8th note. Isn't that fascinating?
That's awesome.
Right? It's so fascinating. And so do at the lower octave, going all the way up to do again,
almost
is
like
the
it was
8th.
built by somebody that had it all in mind.
Almost like someone built it all, right? And that's the way it works. Do, re, mi, fa. So do, if you're starting at C, you're do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's another C. It's just higher. So if you're looking at a piano, for example, you go from the C and you hit every single one, the 8th one you're going to get is another C. And so it's just going to be of a higher octave, and it will keep going that way the whole way. And so it helped me understand that. So understanding music helped me understand why the 8th day was significant as the day of resurrection.
How many are there?
Okay.
How many octaves?
It's unlimited. There is no limit.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
It goes all the way up and all the way down to imperceptibility of our ears because it's how fast or slow it's vibrating. The strings are vibrating.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so it just keeps going higher. Now, it will get to imperceptible levels, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. And that's what frequencies are. In fact, that's what cell phone frequencies are.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing.
Wi-Fi and all those things.
All those things. Wi-Fi. It's just high levels of audio frequencies, right? That can't be detected. Then we create instruments to detect those frequencies and then to transmute them down into a frequency that we can pick up. And so then your eardrum literally shakes.
Right.
And then the shaking of that eardrum actually infers to which neuron cluster gets activated because those were associated with Apple. When I say Apple, so then Apple happens, and then that level of frequency as that happens hits the eardrum, strikes a nerve cell, and then actually expands. And that's how it's so good. And that's how persuasion happens, actually.
Okay.
So when I'm speaking, and that's the baby. So we can do
come full circle to the turkey.
Back to the turkey. When you're looking at the turkey, or you're looking at a human, that word because hits a cluster of neurons that fire. Now that fires before the expectation happens.
Before the rest comes
before
out.
the reason actually comes out. That word because already triggered that response. And so the sequence of events happens that when because happens, then we can save resources in our brain by going ahead and complying. And so it becomes energy management. And so all of persuasion actually is a form of that. Stories are a coding language.
Right.
And so if I'm going to use stories, I'm actually accessing certain regions of the brain to communicate certain values on purpose in order to cause an action or an arrival in a different way. A reframe restructures those neurons to connect to other neurons that they weren't actually already connected to.
So good.
And so you can do that with
good.
words. Like can
you do it with anything else?
Themselves. You can do it with words. You can do it with sounds. You can do it with smells.
Oh, yeah.
You can do it with tastes. This is the reason why so often someone will smell something or taste something, and then they immediately have a flashback memory of something that happened when they were a child.
Oh, yeah.
Or in a family situation,
Yep.
or some emotional experience, because all those are codified in those same neurons. And so when those associated experiential sensory, when there's a sensory experience, when that was codified with a memory over here that happened a long time, you can actually awaken the memory by touching the smell, so to speak, with your senses.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And because it connects back, so it's not just your ear that touches it, but it's your eyes. Visuals can do it as well.
Yep.
And so someone can look like your grandfather,
Oh, yeah.
and it can all of a sudden bring up memories because he has a profile or a walk or anything else like someone that's been in your family, right? So funny. My mother is one of 6, and she her older sister. We all used to go take beach trips every year, no matter what. And her husband has a brother and a wife, and so my aunt and my uncle, who's married, we all went, and my uncle by marriage's brother and his wife came too. Okay. Now, they were both about the same size. Okay. My aunt and her sister-in-law was about the same. And they both had on a black bathing suit, one-piece black bathing suit. Now, the brother this is a hilarious story. The brother has thick glasses, like
Yeah. Coke bottle.
Coke bottle lenses, okay? So when he's on the beach,
Yeah, you gotta take them off.
so like everything is like he can't even see people's faces,
blurry.
right? It's very blurry. All right. So he was out snorkeling, right? He was with his wife, and he decides he's going to pinch her on the butt, right? So he pinches her, and she goes, "Ow!" And he pops up and laughs and realizes that it
ain't
it's
her.
his sister-in-law, right? And he didn't pinch his wife's butt; he pinched his sister-in-law's butt.
Oh, man.
Now the same trip, but the point is those. The reason why I mentioned it is those associations. Like she was about the same size.
Yeah.
He was underwater. She was next to him pretty soon. So there was all these things that, like, if he paid more attention, he would have known.
Sure, but
his brain didn't need to didn't
Right.
think it needed to evaluate those extra facts.
Yeah.
So it just didn't. And so then he went. So another thing happened. He had this big mattress that year, a blow up mattress. He'd get on the ocean. He just let himself, like, he just lay on it forever. He's like pale. He's so pale. He was so burnt that year. But he had white head, white beard, and
Just Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme, like white guy, like white guy. And he was like
almost albino.
yeah, like seriously, no joke. And he was like so excited. He was like a super excited guy, fun guy to be around. But he just laid out there forever. Well, you know how the current will take you down.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he was gonna mess with my mother, because we were all big cut ups.
Yeah.
And so there was this woman, again, he didn't have his glasses on. There's this woman laying down, head down, and sunbathing. And he had stayed out there so long, he had
Drifted like
he had
half
drifted
mile.
like a half a mile down the road, okay? Not that far because
Quarter-
my family could see him.
Okay, quarter mile.
And they watched him come out of the water, Okay, and then he got this grin on his
Oh,
face.
no.
And he had that mattress, and he walked up to this lady that was laying out, and he started shaking the mattress on top of her so water would drip on her. And the woman's husband was sitting right there, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He jumped up and like got ready to like get the guy. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like,
Oh my gosh, I can't see nothing. Don't hit me. Don't punch me in the face, please.
Yeah, I had no idea. It was so funny. But again, it was another one of those mechanisms where like his brain
wasn't thinking about the drift.
Wasn't thinking about the drift, right? It's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
And so, but like, and those are like little isolated funny examples, but people just don't understand how many decisions and things get happen to people. And I tell people this all the time when they don't buy an offer. Often they'll say, "I'm going to think about this. I'm going to do this thing," or "Yeah, I'm going to do it next week." It's like, no, you're not. You're not going to do it next week. Like,
Yeah, no.
That like you're not going. You don't know that you're not. I know you believe you are.
Yeah, it sounds
but there's
nice.
actually a block. If you know that this offer is right for you, what's actually happening is like there is something internally that's keeping you from doing it. I don't know what that is. If I did, I would have made sure I put it in the presentation to destroy it, right? But because I would have pre-framed it out to solve for that objection before that you arose to that objection, then you would have bought. So assuming that it's the right offer for you, or the right person offer match, and it made sense financially, right? But it's really it's really fascinating how little people know about their own, like the way
how
their
the brain works. Oh yeah,
they just and they just don't know, and you assume somebody, if they have a lot of money or if they are smart in one domain, that it's just not the way it works.
Not typically.
And it's so, I love it when psychologists catch up with marketers. Mm-hmm. Because usually they're like psychology is almost, there's years behind marketing.
Oh yeah,
Years behind, because the marketers are out there doing it every day.
They got the reps.
They got the reps.
Right. It's like the engineer and the line worker, right? And the line worker knows all these crazy things about the machine and all the like these quirks about these machines. Yeah. And engineers come like, "Oh no. And it's like, oh, no, that couldn't be happening. And then they run the machine for a week and do this crazy study that just proves that the line worker was right. But the line worker couldn't like put it in scientific terms enough for the engineer to believe them. And so they were right. They couldn't effectively communicate it in a way that the engineer could hear it. And so you had to like get this big party together and like do all this crazy stuff.
Actually, what's that called?
What's that?
That whole process.
I mean, it just depends. It
No,
depends.
the process
But, like,
of going to the little guy first.
Oh, that's a big principle in lean manufacturing.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
So-
lean is very big about using like a line worker closest to the person closest to the problem, and leaning on their knowledge and their insight.
We got to talk about something, because that is how America was founded. Like, that's literally the structure. Like, if you walk through the Federalist Papers, that's what they're arguing for.
Okay.
Because, and this is so incredibly important.
It's still set up
because
that way, isn't it?
It's.
I mean, in theory,
In
because
theory, well, the problem right now is they've initiated all these agencies, like these 3-letter agencies, that are unanswerable to the people. So they're not representative government.
Gotcha.
And so that is actually, our government is really, like, there was a whole thing that happened with all those agencies that actually took power and away from both the president and away from Congress and away from the judicial branch, and actually compounded it into an arena that is completely uncheckable by any of them, any branch of government, for the most part.
Yeah.
There's some indirect control,
Right.
but in fact,
Not enough.
And then therefore, there's no way to actually, and those agencies are the ones that spend the most monies,
Of course.
and so then therefore, there's no actual, like, there's no mechanism of actually reining that in unless you have a president that actually like goes in and like
undoes stuff.
undoes it and breaks it. But you have to, but the thing is
That's a death wish.
it's
though.
a death wish. It's a death wish. And that some of that's what's happening, but not only
Yeah.
that's what's happening. That's what we're That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Everything, that's what I'm hoping
Yeah.
for. So, but going back to the reason why our government was set up in that way is because the belief in like a communistic state is that, because really there's only two views. There's the communistic view and there is the free enterprise marketplace capitalistic viewpoint.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can criticize capitalism that's got some holes and things like this.
Sure.
But the reality is you've got the central planning versus which the central planning modality is to think, okay, well, we've got this super powerful system that's smarter than everything else. Right. And so we're then going to central plan what's best.
For everything.
Okay, for everything. The problem with that is it breaks physics law. So Fitts law states that if something's far away, it's really hard to hit. It's almost impossible. So that you increase the distance, it's really difficult to hit. It's like you try to shoot an arrow, and if it's real far away, a 1 degree error, you'll miss the whole target.
Yep.
Okay. If you're close to the problem, even if you suck at accuracy, if you're a foot away,
you're gonna hit it.
You can be 50% off in angle and still hit the target.
Right.
So when you're looking at states being dispersed and the different geography of the United States and how variable they are in climate, in agriculture, in what they can grow and what they can't grow, in how they can produce power, whether it be like water power, hydroelectric, whether it be
solar
or geothermal, solar, just everything is dependent upon vegans will often criticize using land for growing cattle, and they're like, well, you could have grown this much beans. Like, not on the side of a hill in Appalachia, you couldn't.
Right.
Like that.
In that rocky soil, that ain't happening.
That's not going to happen. But you can actually take goats and cattle and run them on there, and they will economically develop that. Exactly. That geographic terrain that would have never been able to be marketed or turned into any kind of economic prosperity. So, which is a criticism of just not understanding how variable like not all grounds, not all agriculture grows in the same place in the same way. There's all these zones, right? You can't grow citrus fruits in Tennessee the way you can in Florida. Right. It's just the way it is.
There's so many things with that.
There's so many things.
And you might not want to grow something in an area. It might be better to set up a port, right?
100%.
Like there's so many economical factors when it comes to those types of things.
Exactly.
Where it's like it just doesn't like you have a major metropolitan area. Well, you could in theory get rid of that and grow something there. Though that would be really stupid, right? Like it's beneficial to have non-agricultural companies have a hub where you can employ people and condense everybody, like all those things, all those kinds of factors play into that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And so that's the reason why we have state and local governments, because then you have the people close to the situation.
Yep.
And so even if they're brain power, even if they're not as educated, even if they don't have 47 degrees, even if they don't have like all the language and all the adjectives, they have a general understanding of what ought to be happening. Simply because they're so close in proximity to the problem. And then someone from California or Nebraska or something can look at someone in, say, Georgia or Tennessee or North Carolina and think from a distance that what they're doing makes no sense. Right. Because if it were done in Nebraska, it would make no sense.
Right.
But even if their IQ is 200 points higher, it doesn't matter, because they're not as close to the problem.
Yeah.
And so the whole idea of a representative government and a constitutional republic is to actually have representative government so that you actually have individual local bases of accesses of power that should actually have more power than the large federal government.
Should be ground up and should feed up.
Exactly.
That's how it was really originally designed.
That is how it was designed. And without understanding that, people leap to a very prideful and arrogant way to look at the world.
Yeah.
Because we live in this globalistic world, we think that our worldview is the optimal worldview, and then we'll be flung into 1,000 different cognitive dissonance when politicians speak.
Yeah.
And then because the variability in the states, it's very easy for a politician that understands persuasion to throw stones at arenas and areas and pockets of people that don't match the same angle or of perspective based on their vantage point.
Yeah.
Depending on the vantage point that they're holding, will give you a completely different view. And so then they're arguing, but it's easy for the politician to throw stones in that way.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem to make sense. And as long as you can keep a populace dumb,
Ignorant.
right? Ignorant
To an idea.
Yeah. Ignorant. As long as you can keep them from ever hearing and actually critically thinking, right? If you can keep them consumed with soda and sugar
and social media,
they will not be able to critically think.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And educated by the same people that are.
Yeah, they build the beliefs in for you.
People just, what
you
the saddest thing is, people just don't know that the education system actually is a
form of bondage.
Well, it's built for that purpose.
I know.
Like it's that's the purpose of it, was to create factory workers. That's literal unthinking factory workers.
Yeah.
Not
follow orders.
But actually, the thing is people are naturally like, factory workers are usually super sharp. That's the reason why you ought listen, right? When they
are super sharp.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
For their domain.
Super sharp because
I know. I worked with all of them.
Because people will critically think if you just put them in the situation and encourage them to critically think.
Oh yeah.
But if they have been trained not to critically think, then you have a terrible problem.
You know what I think one of the biggest mechanisms they use is the pass-fail of tests. Because
wait, I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Go back.
So the mechanism, like the control mechanism
for who?
To prevent critical thinking.
Okay.
You want to know what it is? Standardized testing. At least that's my opinion. Because now I have a pass-fail.
Whether that's the purpose of it or not.
I don't know if that's the purpose of it, but it works really well.
Yes.
Because now people care about being right or wrong. But that's not how things work.
No.
Like, we progressively get better at things by making mistakes.
Yep.
Well, if you think there's a right and wrong answer or a right and wrong decision, you will prevent yourself from making any decision to preserve being right or wrong, right? You would rather not make a decision,
of course,
than make a decision and it be wrong.
Yes.
Right? But I would tell you to do the opposite. I would tell you, make a decision, right or wrong, let's figure it out. Right? Like, that's what I want the mode of option.
If you make a decision, you have momentum to work with, whether it's negative momentum or positive
Make
momentum.
a decision and we'll sort it out afterwards, right? Like, I would, like, on the regular tell all of my direct reports, right? People running the machines. As long as you don't fall outside of these basic parameters, like don't get hurt, don't do something like don't like purposely screw up product, right? Make a decision. And I will defend your point, right? And then we'll figure out how we could have made a better decision, potentially, or you made a great decision and it doesn't matter. We don't have to. But do something, right? Make some kind of decision. Don't wait for me. And now if there's times where you actually need to wait because we're unsure and we've come to a point where it's a bigger decision, great, we can stop. We know when we've arrived at that point.
I do. I agree. I think that fear of
being wrong or doing something wrong, it like destroys that critical thinking, because it's like, ooh, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the right decision is. Well, there's probably 30, and making a decision is better than not, because we don't know. Well, like, we're making a guess no matter what. Right, like I'm guessing that's the best decision.
I think that gets into we're gonna have to pick this back up on the next podcast.
All right,
because there's a positive and a negative way to look at what you just talked about.
Sure.
So, for example, that leads you into a type of relativity which is necessary in certain domains. And then there's another type of relativity that ends up breaking all of society.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
so I think it would be useful to work through
Oh, yeah.
when is a time to think in more relative terms and more spectrum terms. Because you can take that same relative spectrum,
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong, and then apply it to, say, as they do gender ideology.
Right.
And then it becomes, well, there is no such thing as a human binary male and female.
Or you could go to something more critical, like I'm not going to say more critical, something more tangible, and you could go to, there is a checklist of things for a pilot to go through when this happens.
Yes.
Well, that checklist is the gold standard.
Yes.
And you ought go through that entire list to the T and not make some rogue decision outside of that checklist.
Exactly.
Those instances, that does exist.
Exactly.
Right? And so I'm not saying, anyways.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I don't think that what you were saying was wrong. It was more like, let's take this idea to its maximum and find
where there's
a break.
Yeah, because
right?
there are breaks.
There are breaks. Like, so
Yeah.
for example, when it comes to, because it's like the table is always hard. So if a 2-year-old, gets under a table, and this always happens to every 2-year-old, they get under a table,
and they
stand up, and they bang their head, right? It only happens about 2 to 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
It only ever happens 2 to 3 times.
Yep.
And they find out that at that height, it's gonna hurt, and it's
Every
always
time.
hard. The table's always hard.
Yep.
And I heard that from Jordan Peterson, and it was so radical to actually consider, because he was talking about how that most parents have a really problem with discipline is because they act as if the table's not always hard. So the table is always hard, but in their disciplining, the table is not always hard. So they're like, hey, if you do that again, I'll do blank, and then they don't do blank.
Oh.
Or they do blank, but they only do it in this situation at this time. They don't do it at grandma's house. They do it at their house. They don't do it over here because there's all these other social dynamics happening. So the child actually doesn't know when the table is hard.
Yep.
Not necessarily the actual table, but to extend the analogy, they don't know when it's okay and when it's not.
Yep.
And so there's that if there's too much relativity, then it can actually cause confusion. Mm-hmm. So I think there has to be a fundamental level of principles, and then beyond that, you have playtime, right? Because I think playtime is finding boundaries, right? Because I think, going back to your example, is when it works, right? Like, does that work?
Yeah.
Like, so for human biology, physiology, and procreation, guess what don't work?
2 boys.
2 boys don't work. They will never produce a child.
Yep.
2 females will never produce a child.
Not without a male.
Not without a male. And so the whole idea of that fluidity can't be grounded in any objective metric for production or for an outcome that is very obviously the outcome that our species is wired to produce.
Yeah.
Right? And not just our species, but all species here on Earth.
Yep.
And so you can go rogue and say, well, I'm not going to obey that, but you won't get the outcome.
Exactly.
You won't get the outcome.
Right.
Well,
and I think from my perspective, when that is stated, right, there's a goal, or there's ideals over here, right, that guide those decisions.
Yep.
Right? It's not pass, fail, right or wrong, but you're still measuring them.
Exactly.
Right? So,
and I think that's the reason why we need to go into that in this next podcast.
Let's do it.
I think it will be, if we can stress test
all the
you go about that.
of it.
Because I think actually as a society, millennials will talk, one of their biggest things, and they're covered up with anxiety and depression.
Gen Z.
And Gen Z, yeah.
Because you're a millennial and I'm a millennial.
Yeah, I meant Gen Z are covered up with anxiety. And it's because their whole life they were told they can be anything and do anything. Mm. Everything is just relative to what they want to do. That actually increases anxiety.
Yeah.
Because the reality is if you're 5'2", and you're like that, the likelihood of you, and you can't jump, and you're a white dude, you're probably not going to end up in the NBA. Like, no matter how hard you try,
not likely.
the likelihood is like nothing.
Well, the likelihood of getting in the NBA anyways
I know.
is super low.
I know, that's
so
my
then
point.
you're just like throwing in the worst factors ever.
That was my point, right?
Yeah.
And and you have a peg leg, right? Like there's no chance, right? A peg leg white pirate that's 5'2" is not going to make it to the NBA.
Hopefully he's at least got a beard.
Braided
Beard.
beard. All right, that's fascinating.
That is fascinating. Shut her down.